In today's video, I'll be taking you through my first 3 days on Anime Warriors 3 and how a former leaderboard player from Anime Warriors 2 progresses as a free-to-play. I was one of the luckiest players at Anime Warriors 2 back in about 2023. I had tons of secrets and otherworldly units within weeks of starting the game, and I even made it onto leaderboards pretty quick. Anime Warriors 2 was one of the biggest reasons my channel did well back then, along with Anime Fighters, and I was really disappointed when they stopped updating it because really there was nothing left at that point. So when they announced that they were making Anime Warriors 3, I was really excited, but why did I not make a video right away? Well, the main reason is I really have no interest in spending $70+ on game passes anymore. It's really not financially responsible or reasonable for me to spend $70 on game passes on a game I'm not going to be grinding 24/7. I just don't have it in me anymore like I did back in AFS days to just be grinding for leaderboards, so I don't think I'll be spending $70 on game passes, but I will be trying to progress as a free-to-play. I will be joining you guys in the trenches as a free-to-play because I know the majority of players are free-to-play. So I'm going to see how difficult it is to progress in this game completely free and see if I can still find enjoyment without chasing that leaderboard spot or having all the game passes. There are plenty of other creators that grind already that have all the game passes, so I don't feel the need to compete with that. I'm just going to be doing my own thing. So we're trying something different. If the devs want to hook me up with the game passes, I won't say no, but until then, we're spending $0 on this game. So day one, I went in completely blind. I knew nothing about the game, except the game seemed to be holding players really well. I didn't look up any guides, any tier lists. I haven't even watched a single video on this game, which is unusual for me because normally I like to optimize and try to get to endgame as fast as possible. But since I'm not buying the game passes, I decided to just have fun with it. It was definitely a rough start at first. I looked completely clueless, like I'd never have played a simulator before, but I quickly figured it out. The quest system, where to open for units, how to navigate the map, and honestly, it was a big surprise to find out that there were no portals between worlds and that it was basically open world. I had to physically fly between the areas. Open world was really cool at first, but the novelty quickly wore off because really just traveling back and forth, it's not as fun as it sounds. The travel game pass is definitely staring me down and taunting me. I really want it, but I'm not gonna buy it, even though it's so cheap. So for the first day, I focused on completing the main quest for each island. The gameplay loop early on seems to be best to just ignore most of the raids or gauntlets. So if you're new to the game, just focus on the quests and progressing through the worlds. Just because you're so weak, you're not gonna get much value out of the raids or gauntlets. I focused on getting legendaries, rolling some quirks on them to help progression. I just kept whatever quirk I got on it. I didn't focus on getting specific quirks, so just roll something on your legendary units to make your team a little stronger and then move on. So don't waste all your rerolls trying to get something specific on legendary units. Once I had a decent team and discovered the incubator, I feel like progression really took off. I don't think incubator is really worth it after that first day for anything besides relics because relics are locked behind gauntlets, so getting XP on them while you can't grind gauntlet is pretty useful, but other than that, you get so much XP everywhere else, it's really not worth it. So I'm curious to see if they add anything else to the incubators or it's mostly going to be viewed as an early game boost to help new players. So that's pretty much it for day one. If you're just starting out, getting to a place you can overnight for a few mythics and materials to level will be your biggest spike. I noticed that my biggest spike wasn't even grinding those first few hours. It was when I woke up the next day and had a ton of resources to level my units and had some mythics. No amount of active play for that first day will be as good as the first overnight. So I think if you're a free-to-play player and you're new, I think the best way is to get to the second or third world and then just AFK for 12 hours because you're going to get some mythics, you're going to get enough materials to level your units, and you're going to see a ton of progression there. So that's what I did for the first day. Nothing too special, pretty standard gameplay. Unfortunately, I don't have any gameplay footage of my second full day of grinding because it was mostly just finishing the quests, but after that first day, I looked up a tier list because starting blind is fine, but grinding takes time and I don't want to waste a ton of time grinding pointless stuff. So I did look up a tier list. So once I found that tier list, I started working towards filling out my team. I got a full team of mythics, rolled all mythic quirks. I leveled them to the best of my ability. And funny story about leveling, I missed something very important about leveling mythics that I will tell you later, but man, it was a big mistake. The second day is when I really started making progress in the gauntlet. I was able to get some decent relics, which helped boost my DPS quite a bit. So I think that second day is really when you would start pushing in gauntlet and the raids. Other than that, I built out my accessory loadouts for luck, damage, and drops, and I started working on completing challenges and achievements. And then day 3 hit. So the funny thing about leveling that I mentioned earlier is I didn't know you could ascend mythics, and I was wasting so many mythic units and I thought I was screwed. But fortunately, day 3 is when the live event happened just yesterday, and that was insane. It made up so much for me deleting all my mythics. You had the devs spamming stupid memes and messages and literally popping every boost and event in the game at the same time. It was insane for a free-to-play player. As a free-to-play, the live event with all boosts going helped so much in progression, giving away so many resources that you would have to grind for days to get. Even though you're free-to-play and during these events, it's still fun to have hope that you can get a secret. And I think these events really do encourage free-to-play players to keep grinding, because they might get a secret during these events, because I saw so many free-to-play players getting secrets. Some even got 2. It was insane. Overall, the live event was a great time. I ended up getting a ton of shiny mythics, which helped my team a ton, and my DPS, I think it doubled at that point once, and I'm not even finished leveling them or sending them. So the live event was insane. So pretty much now I just have to prepare for the update next week. I'm just going to be finishing grinding my relics, trying to get that extra equip from the gauntlet, and pretty much leveling everything. It's more of the same, but it's going to take a little bit of time. And then maybe, just maybe, I'll be able to get the Renegon if I grind hard enough. So hopefully I can get that before the next update. So overall, my feelings on the game are that free-to-play feels pretty okay. I didn't notice any major limitations or progression issues. You can still reach current content just fine. You can get plenty of mythics as free-to-play, no problem. I wouldn't expect secrets as a free-to-play, but if they keep doing these events, then eventually there's a good chance you will get a secret. So even free-to-play players have chances at secrets. I saw plenty of free-to-play players getting secrets, so don't feel discouraged if you didn't get it this time. I still have no desire to really push for leaderboards. I'll be playing casually. These games are just such big time wasters if you allow them to be, so I'll still keep up with current world stuff. I won't be playing like I did back in the AFS days. I'll probably stream it a bit, but overall, I think a little progression each day without spending my entire day wasting away on Anime Warriors is the best way I'm going to go about playing it. I think my biggest issues with the game are that it tries a little too hard to be an RPG. You have to talk to NPCs every time you want to access a menu, which is very slow and clunky. Like if I accidentally exit trait rerolls, I have to go through the whole process of talking to the NPC, and it adds a delay that shouldn't be there, in my opinion, for a simulator. The text is too small. That just might be a me issue because of my screen size. The time between floors in the gauntlet and picking cards, it needs to be sped up, in my opinion. It's very slow and clunky, and it wastes a lot of time in the gauntlet. Speaking of gauntlet, I think they need to make a way for you to start at a specific floor. You shouldn't have to start at floor 1 every single time, because it's just tedious to grind through the first few floors. I feel like having a way to start at like floor 10, floor 20, whatever, at some point will be useful, because I don't want to grind 1 to 50 at some point because how slow it is every 5 floors to pick a card and progress. Yeah, personally, I'm not a fan of having to move to attack for each unit. I know it's more interactive and RPG-like than simulator-like, but I definitely liked having the circle around that your units would just go off and attack on their own. I don't like having to pilot my character. I like to be lazy. My final first impression of my first 3 days, I'd give it a solid 7.5 out of 10 as a free-to-play. I think the game probably plays a lot better if you have game passes, but if you're unable to purchase them or just refuse to spend that kind of money like I am, Anime Warriors 3 is pretty okay as a free-to-play game, assuming you're fine with not getting secrets. But if they keep running these events, like I said, you're probably going to get a secret at some point. I guess my final question I'd leave you with is, how are you enjoying Anime Warriors 3? Did you enjoy that live event? Are you free to play? Are you pay to win? How are you feeling about the game overall? What are your biggest tips or complaints with the game? Let me know in the comments section, and I will talk to you in the next one. Peace.